just can't stop baking this carrot cake. It's so good. It's just the best carrot cake I've ever had, and I'm like obsessed with it. I'm baking it since weeks again and again. And one of the things that makes it so special is that it's baked with spelt flour. This gives it a very delicious taste, and I want to show you how I bake this cake. For this carrot cake you need a lot of ingredients, but don't worry, I have it all here on my blog post. You can switch between metric system and US customary system for the measurements, and it's all there, you can print it out. So let me just show you what you need. You need carrots, spelt flour, light brown sugar, walnuts, some nutmeg. If you can, use some fresh nutmeg. If you don't have fresh one, you will also be able to use some ground nutmeg. Then you need some ginger, and I'm using fresh ginger, but recently I didn't have fresh ginger and I used some ground ginger, and that worked just as fine. Also some cinnamon, baking powder, an organic lemon, which you will need for juice and also for the lemon zest, pinch of salt, 4 eggs. Then you need some oil. I'm using grapeseed oil here. You could also use some sunflower oil. Any oil that has a neutral taste will do. And for the frosting you will need some confectioner's sugar, a little bit of honey, crème fraîche, and some cream cheese. The first thing I need to do is to roast the walnuts, and I'm not using any fat, no oil, no butter in the pan, just the pure pan and the walnuts. And you should definitely watch this because they easily start to burn, so keep your attention to the nuts here and stir them every now and then. You can see here that the nuts are getting more brown on the sides here, and they're almost done. And now I set this aside, put this on a cutting board, let this cool a little bit, and then I will chop the nuts. Now I need to shred the carrots, and I'm using the larger one of the attachments here, so I don't shred them too fine. Next step, I use the eggs. And I add the entire sugar. This is light brown sugar. Also a pinch of salt. And now I whisk this until it is really, really foamy. That will take about 5 to 7 minutes. This is looking good. I put it aside. Now I want to mix the spices with the spelt flour. I have a teaspoon of the cinnamon. Also 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Then I am adding some of the nutmeg. And some of the ginger. And ginger has a very strong taste if you use the fresh one. So be a little bit careful, don't use too much if you don't like it very much. So I think that should be a little more maybe. Okay. Also the lemon zest. And I stir this all a little bit. Now, this has to be added to the egg mass. And I'm switching my attachments. That was the oven. I preheated the oven to 340 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 170 degrees Celsius. Okay. So now on a slow speed I am adding the flour mixture and the oil, alternating these things. And the last two ingredients to add are the carrots and the walnuts. And I've already prepared a cake pan, and this goes now into this cake pan. I've buttered the pan and put a thin layer of flour on top of the butter so that the cake won't stick, although it usually doesn't stick very much. This will bake now for about 30 to 35 minutes. Now, my next step is totally optional, but in Germany we like to decorate our carrot cakes with marzipan carrots. So in order to have that, I have to make it myself. If you want to know how to make marzipan yourself, here's the video and recipe for that. First I need to dye the marzipan so that it looks like carrots. Let's see how this color turns out. I want to have, of course, some orange tone here. And it's best to use gloves when you do something like that, because the dye will definitely stick to your fingers otherwise. It looks good already. Let's do the green part. So I shaped this into a log, and now I cut this into even pieces. Okay. One of these was a little small. So now I shape each piece into a sphere, and then I start rolling it while pressing a little more down on one side so that I get this carrot kind of shape. Now, before I continue, let me show you what I also do. I take a knife and I use the back of the knife to put some small indentions in the carrot, as you can see them usually on real carrots. Just like this. for the green part of the carrots, I have made these really thin strings, and I'm cutting 2 pieces of them and put them cross-like on top of each other. There you can see it. So I take this now, like this, and I take one of my carrots, and I have to make a little indentation here using the back of a little brush, and then I take my little greenery and carefully stuff this in here. Take this apart a little bit. Oh, that's fine. Okay. For the frosting, I'm mixing the crème fraîche with the cream cheese, and I'm adding some of the lemon zest. Also, I'm adding some confectioner's sugar, and it depends on your personal taste how much of that confectioner's sugar you want. My recipe asks for 2 tablespoons. I'm generous with that. And I'm also adding some honey because this gives a very nice taste. Then I also need some of the lemon juice. And this will be mixed now all together. Here's now the baked cake. It's a tiny little bit warm, but mostly cooled. And I will now continue and put some of the frosting onto the cake. And it is a rather thin frosting, so it's not as thick and dense as the American frosting with butter. So, and this will go into the fridge now, and once the frosting has set a little bit, I will add the little marzipan carrots on top like this, and then it's ready to eat. This is a very moist, very delicious, very good and even healthy carrot cake. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you want, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, stay tuned for the pictures and for the next video. Thank you for watching.